Hey guys, it's Andrea, and today I am doing my October wrap-up. The first two I'm going to show you is Fever and Sever by Lauren DeStefano. This is the second and the third in the Chemical Gardens trilogy. I did make a review on this, and either it's going to be posted before this or after this. Either way, I will leave it in the description below and annotate it. Basically, this is a dystopian series in which the girls die at 20 and the guys die at 25 because of issues. And because of the society, our main character gets captured and she gets sold off to be a sister wife to a wealthy man. And all the fun stuff that goes with that. If I remember correctly, I think I gave both of these 3.5 stars. If I'm not remembering correctly, it's on my Goodreads. The next book I read is What I Thought Was True by Huntley Fitzpatrick. I gave this 3 stars. It's about this girl, and it's summer, and she's working as sort of a caretaker for this elderly woman, and the boy who cleans the lawns and does that kind of stuff for these richer people, she has a bit of a history with him, so there's that going on, and she's trying to avoid him, and like stuff happened in the past, and the consequences she's dealing with now, and the weirdness between her and said boy. And then there's a lot of other side stories and whatnot going on and fun stufferoos, but I gave this 3 stars, I think. I should have written this down. No, I gave it more than 3 stars. I ended up giving this 4 stars. There was a few things that I thought was lacking. There was a few things that I didn't like. Yada yada. But I thought it was, oh, it's falling. I thought it was good. I thought it was enjoyable. Just like a good story to read, and it was good. The next 3 books I'm going to show you are all part of a trilogy, and the first one is Ruby Red, the second one is Sapphire Blue, and the third one is Emerald Green. And these are the 3 books in the trilogy. And these are by Kirsten Gier, and it is a time travel series. And time travel. Basically, our main character grew up knowing that there is this time travel gene in their family. However, they thought it was her cousin instead of her, so her cousin her whole life has been preparing for this, knows different languages, knows how to fight, knows her history, knows how to handle, has been prepared. But it turns out they were wrong. Actually, our beautiful main character is the one with the gene. So randomly she accidentally time travels and is like, oh crap, it's me. So she gets stuck being a part of this very secretive, not really trustworthy time travel society. They constantly underestimate her and think she's really stupid because she's had no preparation for it. And it's her dealing with all of that fun stuff. I thought this was a really solid series. It was good. It wasn't something that I loved. It wasn't my favorite, but I really did enjoy this series. They got better as they went along too. The first one I gave 3 stars. The second one I gave 3.5 stars. And this one I gave between a 3.75 and 4 stars. Next I read Touched with Sight by Nina Campbell. And this was an ebook. And this was the second book in the Shadow Thane series, and I gave it 5 stars like I gave the first one. I think I actually liked this one even better than the first one. It was so good. It's paranormal, and it deals with main character, and she shapeshifts, and usually by her age they settle into one creature that they shapeshift into. But she's kind of special in the way that she hasn't settled. She can still change into anything. And then there's a lot of other stuff going on, and just dark magic, and just there's somebody going, a tracker person, council person going after her, and it's just a lot of paranormal excitement and just everything. So that was really, really good. Next, I read Saga Volume 2 by Brian K. Vaughan and Fiona Staples. I gave this 5 stars again. It is so good, and I highly recommend it if you want to try out graphic novels. I will say yet again, like I've said before, that it does have adult content in it, both in speaking and in pictures, so beware of that, but it is very, very good. Next, I have the Lux Beginnings, which includes Obsidian and Onyx. I read both Obsidian and Onyx in October, so this is 2 books, just in a bind-up, which usually not a fan of bind-ups, but it was cheaper to buy the bind-ups, and also then it'll match the last book, even though they're completely hideous, and they like shimmer like a holographic card, but it'll look really cheap, disgusting, ugly one. That was a bad comparison, because like holographic cards are like awesome. This girl moves into a new house, and she finds out that she's living next door to aliens, and she has some kind of trace on her, so she has to stay around them so they can protect her, even though the neighbor named Damon is super infuriating and super douchebag person, and just boo. I gave both of them 4 stars. They were very entertaining. They're not like a literary masterpiece or like anything like whoa or super original, but it was super entertaining. One of those just like thrillingly entertaining books. It was really good and really interesting. I think my main complaint about the first one, Obsidian, is one that I don't like Damon, and number 2 is that in the synopsis it tells us that he is an alien, right? But she doesn't find out till halfway through the book. So it was a really annoying sitting there and like waiting for her to find out. So I wish she would have found out quicker, or we wouldn't have known in the synopsis, because that was just a huge bummer. Like half the book she didn't know, but I knew, and that kind of was annoying to me. It wasn't like horrible, but I would have preferred it differently. Luckily, I found that Damon does get better, so if you dislike him too when you're first reading the book, he gets more likable. Though I have to say that the main character got slightly less likable to me. I don't hate her, I just get a little bit more annoyed with her. I did write a review for both the first and second. Actually, I'm going to include any reviews that I've written of any of these books in the links below. I didn't write reviews for all, but I did write reviews for some, and these are included in that. Next, guys, I finally read City of Bones by Cassandra Clare, which not a huge fan. I would give this 2.5 stars. I just didn't feel anything. Like, I had no connection or really care for the characters or even the story itself. Like, I had no connection to the story. Like, I was just like, okay, that's sad. I don't feel sad. Something happy happens. Like, I just didn't feel anything as I read it. I was just reading it. Like, I wasn't feeling it. I just didn't have that, like, connection and chemistry with this book. I was really, really bored for at least the first half. And there was stuff going on, but because I had no connection, it was really hard for me to read this. It took a while, and I was just really bored. I found her writing to be very interesting. I'm not sure exactly my opinions on it, because she just uses a lot of metaphors and that kind of stuff to explain things. Very interesting way to explain things. Kind of odd. Not that it's bad, it's just very different, and I'm not quite sure how I feel about it yet. We'll see. We shall see. Next, I read The Shifter by Janice Hardy, and this is the first book in the Healing Wars trilogy, This is a middle grade slash early YA, falling out of my hand, sort of right pushing at that boundary. And this was really, really good. I thought the premise was good going into it, but I didn't have super high expectations. But actually really ended up liking this, which was awesome. Basically, this is about this main character, and she is a shifter. You have these people that have these powers and they're able to heal people. It's very common for someone to be a taker, which means they can heal people by taking their pain from them and putting it in this like special stone. Unfortunately, as you're shifting it, you feel the pain. So if you're healing someone's broken leg, you're going to start feeling pain in your leg type deal. But with our main character, Naya, she is a shifter, not a taker, because she takes the pain and she can't put it in that stone, but rather she shifts it onto another person. So she can kind of go between people, which is sort of a dangerous thing that they're trying to keep a secret, because these very unique people can be taken to use as like assassins and stuff like that, because they're a very good weapon in that way. And something happens with her sister, she goes missing, and there's all these things, so it's her trying to save her and other people and just trying to be good despite the fact that her powers slide her a little bit more towards the evil side than the good side, though they can be used for good. It was really interesting and is really good, and I really liked it, and I give it 4 stars. And what I really liked about it is this main character did everything she possibly could for her sister. She just didn't give up, and she did everything she could. And the last but certainly not least book I read of the month was In the Afterlight by Alexandra Bracken. This was the 3rd and final book of the Darkest Mind trilogy. It is a dystopian trilogy if you haven't heard of it, and it's just brilliant, and I love it so much. I gave this book 5 stars. So good. If you don't know, this is set in a sort of world where these children are being born with powers, and they get classified by colors: the greens, the blues, the yellows, the oranges, and the reds. It kind of goes up from like how strong they are. The greens are just really good, like mental power, like memorization and codes and numbers and puzzles. Blues can move things with their mind, the telekinesis. And the yellows are with like technology and electricity. Oranges is like persuasion and mind control, and red is fire. The oranges and reds especially are extremely dangerous and powerful, and our beautiful main character happens to be an orange. And yes, it's her and all that. I can't really talk about what this is about since it is the 3rd one, so talking about it would spoil other books, but it was really good, and I'll probably do a review on it / on the series because I really love it. It's one of my favorites, and I should talk about it more because I like it. That was it. That was my wrap up. That was all the books I read. How many was that? I read 13 books in the month of October. So that was good. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I'll see you later. Bye!